On Thursday, May 24th, 1804, the Lewis and Clark expedition entered a very dangerous part of the Missouri River known as the Devil's Race Ground. The river had some dangerous rocks and tough river current. Between the river rocks and the steep falling river banks, there was a small island right smack dab in the middle. So you might say they were between a rock and a hard place. They decided to sail between the right side of the island and the river rocks. As they proceeded, several of the crew got out and walked along the shore with a tow rope pulling the keel boat upstream. Right at the most dangerous place, the tow rope broke loose, causing the keel boat to drift backwards and run aground on a sandbar. Captain Clark called out, "Men, over the sides, quickly! Dig the sand loose from the boat." As they frantically dug around the boat, the current was trying to turn the boat broadside and tip the boat over. It was nip and tuck for a few minutes when the sandbar finally gave way. The new tied tow rope straightened the boat out, and they eased it down the river and decided at that point to try to go up the left side of the island, between the island and the falling riverbank bluffs. They finally made it out of the Devil's Race Ground, safe and sound. Have you ever seen or been at a car or street drag racetrack? When I was 13, my dad was partners with another fella named Tony. They owned a drag racer and used to race on weekends. The fastest races I saw went over 200 miles an hour in a quarter mile. The ground would shake and the air would fill with excitement as the parachute would open up and slow the dragster down. One thing I noticed, the track was always clear and straight. There was no rocks, cans, or anything that the driver could crash into. Lewis and Clark didn't have such a race ground. They barely got through without damage. Over the years, and also as a youth pastor, I always noticed that several of the teen youth liked to do street drag racing. I always thought this was foolish. Why, it's as dangerous as the Devil's Race Ground on the Missouri. There are other cars, dogs, cats, people, and all kinds of dangers. I even thought as a teenager that drag racing on city streets was for fools. But being sensible paid off. Let me tell you how. When I was 17 years old, a friend of mine at work asked me to go out with him after we closed down the cafeteria. We'd take out a couple of the girls that we worked with and drive up a canyon not too far from where we worked. For some reason, I didn't want to go. I told Larry no. I believe the Lord was watching over me even back then. Plus, I put some common sense into use. I knew that they'd be drinking beer and driving wild and crazy, and I didn't want any part of that lifestyle. Well, the next day, I came to work after school and found everyone so gloomy. I asked what was wrong and found out that Larry wrecked his car on Mulholland Canyon Drive, and the girl I was to go out with, Betty, died in the car crash. That canyon road became the real Devil's Race Ground, and the devil won that race. He tried to kill me too, but the Lord protected me. You know, I took counsel in a psalm, Psalm chapter 1. It kept me out of danger then. It'll keep you out of danger today if you take this to heart. Blessed is the man that walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law he does meditate day and night. He shall be like a tree that is planted by the river of waters, that brings forth fruit in season. His leaf shall not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper. The ungodly, they're not so. They're like the chaff which the wind drives away. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the righteous. For the Lord knows the way of the righteous, but the ungodly shall perish. Turn the cassette over for more exciting adventures of the Lewis and Clark expedition.